Yeah, people are like flying a turkey. Last year, I was keeping my testosterone towards the upper end of the normal range. Some of my hair fell out.
Thinning follicle or a dying follicle produces 1 or 2 hairs. A dead follicle produces 0. So if you're 1 to 2, we can save it. If you're at 0, sorry.
So when it comes to hair restoration, this is like a thing.
The typical recommendation is 3 treatments once a month, 3 months in a row. Then you should start to see results usually 8 or so months later.
Welcome to the Longevity Unlocked podcast. We are your guide to optimizing your life one health tip at a time. We are not providing a replacement for medical advice. Please always consult your doctor before making any diet, exercise, medical, or lifestyle changes.
On this episode of Longevity Unlocked, we talk about PRP hair restoration, how it's done, microneedling versus injections, the use of added biologics, what you can do before and after. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Longevity Unlocked. I am Coach Kyle here with Dr. K. What are we talking about today, Dr. K?
Bald people.
Bald people. He couldn't even say it with a straight face. He said bald people. Well, I mean, maybe not technically. Maybe balding.
Should we scratch that?
No, full send. This is Longevity Unlocked, baby. We're unlocking how to not be bald.
Oh.
Probably. So, I mean, this is kind of applicable to me because last year I was keeping my testosterone towards the upper end of the normal range. And by that, I mean in the 1200s. And some of my hair fell out and went away and is no longer with us. May it rest in peace. And now I have this like weird half grown, half not bald.
Yeah, I just like cut it all the same length and start over.
Yeah, like a bob. We just do bob. You call
Princess
me Bob.
Peach.
There we go. Nailed it. Anyway, so when it comes to hair restoration, this is like a thing in longevity medicine, right?
Is it?
Yeah, people are like flying a turkey for plugs and stuff. Have you heard about this?
I've seen the pictures where they come back on the plane, their head's like a balloon.
Yeah, they're all swollen up. But we have other options. Like, you don't have to go to Turkey to get plugs. Maybe if you're like actual bald, you need like...
Yeah, no, if you're like, if follicles are dead and your shiny head bald,
We're not going to do anything.
Yeah. No.
So basically, some of the options we have with like PRP or biologics, they are for dying follicles, not dead follicles.
Yes.
So
a follicle by definition needs to produce 3 hairs. So a thinning follicle or a dying follicle produces 1 or 2 hairs. A dead follicle produces 0. So if you're 1 to 2, we can save it. If you're at 0, sorry.
yeah, that's when you need to go get some of the invasive stuff
Yes.
to get your hair back. People seem to care a lot about their hair. Some people do, some people just don't.
You care about your hair.
I care about my hair. Yeah.
So
Probably. I mean, my dad doesn't. He's bald. He shaved it. He committed.
I mean, I don't. My wife cares. I don't care.
Fair enough. So what do we do in terms of options for hair restoration? And does it look different for like men and women?
So, I mean, the most aggressive thing is PRP, hair, microneedling, or injections. And we've talked about this in the past, but you basically take your growth factors, or you can do stem cells as well, but take your growth factors and inject it into your scalp. No one really knows why humans go bald, right? There's a few different theories out there, but no one's proven it. One is hormone production. One is actually tightening of the fascia. So, fascia runs from here to here, and they say it tightens over time and restricts blood flow. So that's why follicles die. There's genetics that are a part of it. No one really knows what the true reason for it is. So PRP and stem cell injections, they definitely help break up that fascial restriction. If it's genetic, can't really fight your genetics.
So those are the people who like lose their hair by 20 because everybody in their family's lost their hair by 20.
I guess, because there's not really you're not going to not have kids because you're bald for the most part, right? I mean, there's certain like civilizations out there where like hair length is everything, but for the most part, you're not going to not have kids. So there's no biological advantage to having hair. And so it doesn't preclude.
Yeah. So in terms of like these injections, you just said we inject around your scalp. Specifically, how do you inject? How far? Like what kind of areas? Like
so you
what's
can
that look like?
microneedle, which people say works well. I've always preferred the direct injections. The reason for that, I think I get more fascial breakup than microneedling. Microneedling kind of just, drag it around. For direct injections, I tend to go every 3 millimeters. Kind of just make wheels.
So 3 millimeters. For reference, that is a third of a centimeter, which is point
of an inch.
Yeah, point.
It's like a tenth of an inch.
Yeah, a tenth of an inch. So that's a lot of injections.
Yes, it's like boom, 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 boom.
How long does it take?
Depends how big the area is, but an area about yay big would take me, I don't know, 2 minutes.
Oh, you're quick.
You go pretty fast. Because if you want me to go slow, we're just dragging out the torture.
And it just hurts. Yeah.
Now we add things. We have a pointed cryo we can add to help cool your scalp. We have laughing gas now, which will just, you're on another planet. We can even sedate you if you really want.
It's pretty aggressive, but I guess if you just can't take, if you're
It
tender-headed.
kind of sucks. It hurts.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you're kind of getting stabbed in the head.
Yeah.
In terms of results with this, what does the timeline look like and the number of treatments?
Yep. So the typical recommendation is 3 treatments once a month, 3 months in a row. Then you should start to see results usually 8 or so months later. You have to go through a full hair cycle. First thing, cosmetics are one of the least guaranteed things we do. I can look at your knee MRI and be like, we have a 90% chance or 20% chance or whatever percent chance. Hair might work, might not. Works really well for some people. Doesn't work at all for some people.
Yeah. Probably has to do with blood flow and genetics and all the same things that cause the hair to fall out in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So 3 treatments. Are you going to get, is this one of those things that's like more is more? Like if we do 6 of them in a row, are we going to get better results?
Probably not, but maintenance is a big thing to it. If you do 3 and then never do anything again, it's going to get worse again. You got to maintain.
Got to keep going. Okay. And then I assume the power of this is amplified with use of a biologic, a stem cell or an exosome or something like that. What is your preferred there? Exosome, stem cells?
I typically just prefer MSCs. We just go back 2 episodes. We just talked about this, but I prefer MSCs for most aspects.
Okay. Is there a difference in treating men versus women?
For the injections? Not really.
It's just kind of the same.
Women are harder because the hair's longer. It's more in the way. But other than that, no.
What are early warning signs that you might need to get in for PRP hair restoration?
Thinning, clumps in the drain. I don't know.
I think a big one could be, I hear, because my wife, we had a baby 8 months ago. She had a baby. I didn't do anything. And she's talking about her hair falling out, and I guess a lot of other women postpartum have hair fall out as well. So that could be a potential, help it get revived as part of the postpartum treatment as well. Are there any groups of people that should not do this besides the people who have the dead follicles?
I don't really know. There's not really many downsides to trying it besides money and pain. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, unfortunately. But
yeah, I think active cancer is one of them because of PRP.
Yeah, I mean, you have PRP contraindications, which, active cancer, pregnancy, et cetera, et cetera. But as a general, assuming you're clear to do any PRP, you're probably fine to try it.
Yeah, because it's more of an aesthetics, cosmetic procedure. Makes sense. What are adjuncts or things people can do before or after that could boost the effects?
Yeah, the main one that comes to mind is peptides. Zinc thymolene mixed with GHK copper. You can inject it, or you can do a hair dropper, or there's pills of it. But whatever you want, just an aesthetic collagen production boosting peptide.
It's a solid one. I like the red light laser caps too. You just put one of those suckers on. They actually look like a hat now, so it doesn't look like you're wearing some alien helmet. So you can just kind of wear your hat and you're getting your red light treatment. Increases blood flow and usually helps scalp health.
Makes sense.
There's a lot of products out on the market in terms of plant-based stem cells and other DHT blockers and stuff like that. We tend to stay away from DHT blockers, especially the orals, because there's a whole side effect of permanent loss of sexual function that can occur.
Minoxidil and finasteride.
Yeah.
He said permanent.
It's permanent. It's literally listed as a side effect. So I don't think it's worth the risk at that point. If I'm getting that desperate, I'm just gonna shave it because there are trade-offs,
That's fair.
I think keeping your scalp clean, washing your hair with a good quality shampoo without a bunch of endocrine disruptors or toxins.
Not like 17-in-1 car soap, body wash, shaving cream, shampoo, dish soap.
Wax. Yeah. If it has more than 2 uses, that's probably the absolute cap. Yeah, you shouldn't be washing your hair with your body wash. This shouldn't be the same thing.
No. No, the real reason for that, the oil stripping properties of them are very different.
Yep. And the neon green stuff is probably not good either.
No, go for at least no like added colors.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about blood flow and hormone production and all the things that work in scalp health, like we don't want to add more chemicals into that situation. Right. Did you PRP a hair restoration on someone's armpit if they're not growing enough armpit hair?
I'm not.
You wouldn't do it?
I don't know if it'll work. It'd probably hurt.
It would hurt so bad. That'd be brutal. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Longevity Unlocked. I'm Coach Kyle, here with Dr. K.
We'll see you guys next time.
This podcast is not medical advice, and any information taken from this episode should be discussed with your medical provider and not be a replacement for consultation. We disclaim any responsibility for any possible adverse effects from information taken from the episode.